Okay, so I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about what we covered on Monday and Tuesday. The video I tried to upload from the Google Meet that we had on class on Monday and Tuesday didn't really want to upload correctly, so I decided just to make a quick visual for you guys, which is me talking, kind of going over the important things that we talked about on Monday. Okay, so a couple things. First off, there are two different types of court systems. The first one is called a civil court. In a civil court system, this is usually where you'll see like your marriage, your divorce, your custody, your adoption, your civil lawsuits. These are your Judge Judy cases. Okay, and then the second one is called a criminal court system. These are where cases where laws were broken, and this could be everything from traffic to murder. Okay. Another thing we talked about was an appellate court. So an appellate court, they are part of the judicial system that are kind of in between both a criminal and civil, and their main role is, they're responsible for hearing and reviewing appeals from those legal cases. However, these turned out, whether, defense or prosecution or the co-defense kind of thing. And what they do is they review appeals that maybe that case was handled incorrectly, or if people don't agree with that decision, they can appeal it, hoping to get that case heard again. So what an appeal court does is they look at appeals of legal cases that have already been heard on a trial level. They could do this on an upper court or a lower court. Okay, and they'll really make the decision if this court goes to the next level or not. Okay, on an appellate court, one thing to remember is there is no jury. Okay, in an appellate court, it's just usually a panel of judges. Okay, and what they do is they review the case and they'll talk to the lawyers and kind of really have a discussion with them about the ins and outs of the cases. And really what they're looking for is to make sure that that case was handled fair and equal. That making sure that there was an equal decision, that there was no bias in the case, which is really, having bias in any case happens quite a bit. So that's the importance of an appellate court, is to really look at the case to make sure that it was constitutional or not. Okay, to make sure that none of the constitutional rights of the individuals in that case were taken advantage of. Okay, so the next thing I want to kind of talk about is how the Utah court system breaks down. So the Utah court system, I'll increase the size of that. Okay, the Utah court system starts off with your lower courts. In your your lower courts, which is your local courts. Your local courts in the Utah court system, these are like your traffic courts. These could be your minor courts where minor infractions occurred. Your smaller cases that really aren't worth a lot of money, this is where you're going to see your local courts. Okay, these are your small claims, like up to $10,000, your misdemeanor, your traffic violation. You'll see these in the local courts. Another term for a local court is also called a justice court. Okay. In a justice court, jury trials in some cases, but not all. And why I say all is because some trials do not have juries in criminal cases, such as drug court and youth court. They do not have a jury in youth court is because really to protect the identity of the youth. And in drug court, Utah has actually kind of pushed a new fight on drugs, specifically because of a lot of the opioid epidemic and the drug use that's in Utah, that they have a specific court just for drugs. And how they handle it is more of a rehabilitation program than it is a sentencing program. Okay? And that's really how some of the local courts in Utah work. The next level is kind of our district courts in Utah. Your district courts, these are for usually property, estate, civil appeals, bigger cases that have to do with a lot of money. This is really, the higher end misdemeanor exclusive to felonies. You'll see these in the district court. Okay, and usually a district court, these are mainly like county courts or even like multi-county. When you're talking about like rural areas of Utah, this would be multi-county. Okay. Salt Lake City actually has, I think, 3 district courts just in Salt Lake City because of the population, really. And that's really how they determine if they need another court or not, is if it's really being overloaded, okay? So population really matters when it comes to district courts. But these could be local areas or it could be multi-county, just really based on the amount of cases that's going to be heard, okay? In between both the local district and the Utah Supreme Court, we have what's called the Utah Court of Appeals. Appeals might be criminal, they might be civil appeals, they could be corporation appeals, but the idea of an appeal process, like we talked about in the last picture, was to really look at the case to make sure that it was handled fair and correctly, that there was no bias. Okay, so say you have a appeal in a local court and you're really not too happy about how your case went because you felt your constitutional rights were taken advantage of. So you go to a court of appeals and then they can send it either back to a local court or they can send it up to a district court. Okay, and if it's even high enough, they might even send it to the Utah Supreme Court. That is really the job of the Court of Appeals, is to determine the constitutionality of all cases. Okay. Now, when we get to the Utah Supreme Court, this is the highest court of the land. Now, the Utah Supreme Court actually acts as both a trial court and a court of appeals. In the appeal process, they will look at the criminal, the proceeding, when it comes to, cases that are exclusive to the death penalty. So all death penalty cases in the state of Utah actually go to the Supreme Court. Okay, whether you committed a crime on the local level or the district level, all death penalty seeking cases go to the Utah Supreme Court. Okay, they are, kind of the highest court of Utah. And when we're talking about it on a national level, these would be all the lower courts. Okay, these are your state courts. Okay, we'll move on to our federal court system. In our federal court system, we have that's right up above the state Supreme Courts. It's called the district courts. And in the United States, there's actually 94 district courts. Another term for this would be a circuit court. You'll hear that a lot on the national level. There's at least one district in each state. There's at least one district in each state. The District of Columbia and Puerto Rico. 3 territories of the United States, the Virgin Islands, Guam, and Northern Mariana Islands have district courts that hear federal cases. These cases can actually mean bankruptcy as well. And the reason that it would be a bankruptcy is because most companies are multi-state. Now, if it's a multi-state lawsuit, okay, multi-state or, where it's crossing different state lines, it will go into a district court no matter what happened. If it's a murder case and they cross state line, you will hear it in the district level. Okay. The next above that is what's called the District Court of Appeals. Like I said, in our lower process, they really review cases to see if they need to be sent back down to the district court, or if they need to move on to the Supreme Court of the United States. Now, the Supreme Court of the United States is the highest court of the United States, but it also functions as an appellate court. Okay, meaning a court of appeals. They're looking at the constitutionality of that case. They will not release a guilty or not guilty plea, but all they look at is the constitutionality of that case. And what they're looking for is, how does it apply to the U.S. Constitution? Okay, or if it's a dispute over states, how do we apply the Bill of Rights using the 14th Amendment? Specifically, the Due Process Clause. Okay. guys have any questions, let me know. But this was kind of the big ideas that I wanted you to get out of the Monday and Tuesday class. All right, have a good day.